NFL Free Agency Day 2 live on YouTube and Instagram. As always, I'm Kevin Bunk. He's Michael Merlo. And we have a lot of stuff to talk about, recapping Day 1 of Free Agency and the re-signings that happened on Sunday night. But let's just start with 12 o'clock yesterday hits. A lot of stuff goes down in the next 12 hours or so. It's been pretty quiet since last night. But I got 4 storylines I wrote down that I thought were the most relevant of the day. You can take a pick which one we start with, Mike. You're
Okay.
the honor of that. First, Raiders spend $281.5 million on day 1. Second, Titans spend $283 million on day 1. Third, ALEC Pierce gets $28.5 million per year, 4 for $114. He's the richest free agent wide receiver ever. Or the kind of dark horse wild card one, Panthers overpay completely for Jalen Phillips, also get Devin Lloyd, made some good noise yesterday on defense. Which one do you think is worth starting with?
Let's start with the thing that happened first. Let's start with ALEC Pierce, because I am fascinated to hear what you have to say about this. You kind of nailed it. You thought that he would go back to Indianapolis, and you told me last week they'll trade Pittman and they'll bring back Pierce. And the more you heard about what kind of contract Pierce was going to get, the crazier it sounded. And then he gets this deal. And then you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, I couldn't believe when I saw the number. 4 for $114. I think he's the 9th highest paid wide receiver in the league now. But you know what? That's the position. Like every 2 or 3 years, we have the Christian Kirk moment. I thought DK Metcalf's contract really screwed up the market because he's not one of the 5 best receivers. He's probably not one of the 8 best receivers in the league. Maybe even further down the list if you ask NFL GMs who really study this all day. But ALEC Pierce gets it, and he had an awesome year last year, and they're going to decide that with running it back with Daniel Jones, this is the right move for their offense. And Steichen probably prefers Pierce because Pittman's not a guy that he drafted. He was there for a year before Steichen got there. Fascinating, though, with ALEC Pierce, and I'd ask you as a guy who wanted him on your own team when we did predictions last week, I think a lot of teams are not too upset that they avoided that contract.
Oh, I flipped Sunday when you see these reports that this contract is going to be bonkers. I think I texted you and I said, this could be another Kenny Golladay situation. This could be another situation where you're just overpaying for a player that does not have the right skill set to be paid 25, 27, 28, whatever it is, $1 million a year. I think with Pierce, like he might just fit in Indianapolis. Like you mentioned, it might just work there with Daniel Jones, which is another great conversation that we should have, Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
But it might just work there, and he's the most valuable in that spot. I believe that he turned down more money. I think New England was desperate. I think New England absolutely offered more money because they realized how difficult an A.J. Brown trade would be. There's really not many of those trades out there for them to get that real wide receiver number 1. So I believe it. And then you see the 49ers go out there and sign Mike Evans. I believe that the 49ers were in on ALEC Pierce as well.
And you still have Juwan Jennings and Romeo Doubs out there. Wan'Dale Robinson signed. We'll talk about the Titans a lot later. But the annual money of these guys, Robinson got less. So I would have thought with Pierce hitting $28.5 million, Robinson would have easily cracked $20 million. This is a guy who caught 92 passes last year, but he doesn't. He falls just short of the $20 million a year mark with Tennessee. Still gets a lot of money at 19.5. Now it's very curious with Juwan Jennings because I would have labeled Jennings as the potential Golladay of this group. He didn't have the stats Kenny Golladay had. He was never really a wide receiver 1 in San Francisco, but he felt like a $20 million plus per year player. Now Devin Lloyd gets 15. I know they're not comparable, but then you have Wan'Dale gets 19.5. How does Juwan Jennings get more than that?
More than Wan'Dale, you're saying?
Wan'Dale, yeah.
I don't think he does. I don't.
You don't. And
he can.
So now from our predictions episode, which Jennings wasn't even included in, but our conversations that we've been having the last week to where we are today, Jennings turns into pretty good value where like Pierce and Wan'Dale didn't feel like they would be. Pierce probably wasn't, but the Colts keep him. Wan'Dale, I liked where he ended up. I didn't think I was going to like it. I liked where the number they got.
I agree. I was shocked. It was 4 years, set was $78 million. I was absolutely shocked with that number because I thought we were going to get to, a crazy $20 million a year sort of contract. But I don't think we predicted that, though. I think like we said, like, oh, cooler heads prevail. And I think that's what happened here. I also just don't think there was this robust market because the same teams that were in on ALEC Pierce probably weren't in on Wandale. The same teams that were in on ALEC Pierce, Niners, Patriots, right? Chargers. I'm assuming all of those teams were also not in on Wandale because they're just two completely different players.
Yep. Yeah, you're looking for one contested catch, huge red zone guy, and the other one is your gadget chain mover. He's elite at that, and he's not going to stretch the field much for you. I'm really curious, though, to see who the ALEC Pierce teams were. The Chargers were mixed in there. The Chargers were rumored for a lot of receivers. I want to talk about them a lot today. But, yeah, Pierce gets a great contract, and I can't believe that he was valued this way. I thought that he was a high-end 2, really low-end 1, and he becomes the 9th highest paid wide receiver in the NFL and the richest free agent wide receiver ever.
I mean, does it not sound like a mistake? Like, it sounds like a mistake, right? Like, this is going to end up being a mistake.
Last year, 47 catches, 1,003 yards, and 6 touchdowns. I know he was pacing for a lot higher in yards and touchdowns before Jones got hurt. Averages 21 a catch.
Yeah.
That's his big thing, right? He's the chunk receiver. But I have said it 1,000 times, and I'll never change my stance, and I'm not an NFL GM or coach, so I don't know better than them, but I like a guy who can bring in 80-plus receptions a year and really create separation, and Pierce is not that guy. It's a real contested catch upside player. I don't like it at all, but it's the Colts' decision to do it. It works there, and Shane Steichen knows better than me about how he wants to run his offense.
You like Pittman to Pittsburgh?
I like Pittman to Pittsburgh, but I liked the trade for the Colts too, because I think Josh Downs is really underrated, and he deserved a chance to slot exclusively into that number 2 role. But I like it for Pittsburgh. They needed another guy opposite Metcalf. You wish they did it a year sooner, but it wasn't available.
Yeah.
Good for Mike McCarthy. He'll get those guys the ball.
Pittman also worked in a lot of different places, though. Even though you have the contract extension attached to it, and it's not a bad deal at all. Most teams could have done that. That worked for a lot of teams.
Yep, it did. Good job by this. What was it? Just a 6-7 pick swap, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Which is awesome value.
Yeah.
Like,
and then 3 years, $59 million. Like,
you look at a lot of teams, you wonder if we don't know something about Pittman. Why wouldn't you offer a 5th-round pick for him? A lot of these teams that need wide receivers and have cap space.
I completely agree with you.
I don't know.
Maybe that was just his preferred destination, right? They gave him a couple of different options, and they said, hey, we could trade you to any of these teams. Where do you want to go? And he said Pittsburgh.
Where will you extend?
Yeah, exactly.
That probably played the biggest role. All right, let's bounce off. Raiders spend $281.5 million on day one. Bring in Tyler Linderbaum. They bring in both Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean, the Georgia linebackers. They had an awesome first day. I don't think they're done. They had to spend $98 million to meet the league minimum for payroll after the Max Crosby trade. And they will absolutely get that done. I think they're just under the number right now in annual spending, but in guaranteed money and total contract value, they're at $281.5 million.
Usually when you look at teams that spend money like this in free agency, usually you're not in love with it, right? Like you'd say, oh, they spent bad money. They spent reckless money. I think they've done a really good job here. And I'm not only talking about the players and the money that they spent, but I think the trade with Max Crosby, like, yeah, you're getting worse. You're giving up a star player. But at the same time, the value they got back for him, getting the 14th pick, along with the first pick, now having 2 first-round picks next season, all the picks they have in the top 60, I'm pretty sure it is, in this draft. They have set themselves up in a way where this looked like an undesirable spot for Fernando Mendoza to walk into to now, holy crap, this might be a really nice, first season for a rookie quarterback coming into this situation. I'm incredibly impressed with what they've been able to do in free agency and with this trade here for Crosby.
And we spoke about this a few times this offseason. I love, this is really my opinion, not yours, but I love Kubiak and Mendoza. I think we both felt that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I said I just don't see it working in this division with this owner and the history that the Raiders have. How do you overcome the Chargers, Chiefs, and Broncos? And now you're looking at it and saying, you know what? They're really serious about this. Like, this is not a joke of couple overpays. You just got to meet the number and sell tickets. This is pretty calculated, it feels, between Spytek and Kubiak. And now you do have that 14th pick to potentially add a star player with Fernando Mendoza on offense. While you already have Bowers and Genti, you add the best lineman in free agency, maybe a top 3 or 4 lineman in the entire league with Linderbaum. They're serious about this. This is not a joke of a free agency, and they still have money to spend. Like, do they add a guy like Wyatt Teller because they still need an extra guard? Do they add a guy like Joel Bitonio, another veteran to the line? Do they save it for the draft? I don't know. Next 2 years, they have all the picks in the world to turn this thing into a real contender and flip that division. I don't think it's crazy to say that. If Mendoza is a top 15 quarterback, they could flip the division.
No, again, defensively, they weren't these crazy deals, right? Nakobe Dean, a nice player, so getting 12 a year. A really nice player, really nice moves on defense. The Linderbaum move, you have to feel great about because it's just added protection for it's added insurance basically for your rookie quarterback to come into this situation and say, okay, I feel comfortable here. I have the best center in football snapping me the football. I love it. I love it. And, we had discussed them as a possibility for Linderbaum before free agency started because of all the money they had. Did you predict them there? No, you had them going back, right?
I had them going back.
Yeah, and I had them going to Seattle, which you ended up being right about Seattle. But
once they traded Crosby, though, the door here completely opened because they made Linderbaum the highest paid center, and they still had $10 million left to spend from what they freed up from Crosby. If you want to do like the Moneyball analogy, they replaced Crosby in the aggregate with Quay Walker, Nakobe Dean, and Kwity Paye. You added 3 really good quality defenders to a defense that's horrible. One of them at Crosby's position, all 3 of them in the front 7, and he's gone. You add a pick at 14. It looks great right now.
It does. No, it does. The rebuild can't get off to a better start. I mean, I understand the rebuild started, I guess, do you want to say it started this year or did it start last year? I guess it started this year.
It started in like 1988.
It just got exponentially better. This is going to end up being a really nice situation for Fernando Mendoza to step into. As long as they can get another lineman, maybe they get another receiver in the first 2 rounds, right? This is going to end up being a really nice spot. You like the Naylor signing a lot. Bowers is still there, obviously. Mayer's still there. Genti's still there. Improve the O-line, maybe get another receiver. And Mendoza stepping into a really nice situation with a coach we both really like.
And I think they have 2 or 3 linemen that are really salvageable, including Linderbaum. I think Jackson Powers-Johnson with a good coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball now could get back to what we saw in his rookie year where it looked like he was going to be a piece for them.
Yep.
I think Colton Miller is salvageable. I think they have a team here that maybe was just so, like, read the stuff about Geno Smith this week. And I'm not here to defend Geno Smith or say he's great or anything. There's a lot of noise about GMs and coaches in the league who are evaluating Geno Smith as a free agent think that the Raiders held him back so much. What does that mean for the rest of their offense? It means the same thing applies. Chip Kelly might have been that bad. Pete Carroll might be that washed.
Speaking of Jackson Powers, they don't want to move him at all. They're just going to move him to guard.
Yeah, and that's what I would do.
Trade him. They don't want to trade him. He's not available, they had said, as of now. But he's going to move to guard. So, you're just getting better up front. That's what they needed to do. They needed to do this. Mendoza actually has a chance. I feel so much better about Mendoza right now than I did last week. How
about in the division, Chiefs get Kenneth Walker? What'd you think of that?
I loved it. You posted a great video yesterday about, their lack of explosive plays. They needed this. I still think they need to grab a wide receiver. I don't think it needs to be big time, but they need to get somebody in that room. But in terms of just making their offense better and more complete, this is something they had to do. Etienne or Walker would have done the trick. They go out there, they get Walker, they pay him big time money, but it's just something that they needed to do because now you have Mahomes coming off of a major knee injury. I think he's going to be fine. I think they're going to be back next year. But early on in this season, you want to take a little bit of a load off for him.
Yep,
And this absolutely allows them to do that. When's the last time this team had a legitimately elite running back? Have they ever had one in the Mahomes era? This is probably the best running back they've had. I'm super pumped to see what Kenneth Walker does in Kansas City.
It's just the blip with Kareem Hunt, right?
Yeah.
Other than that, nothing for Kansas City in the Mahomes era. The offensive line hasn't been great the last few years, but I don't think that's solely to attribute to struggling running game. Pacheco and whoever else you want to insert haven't been elite backs. These are not top 30 talent backs in the league. You can't expect to really run with these guys. And I think that we're in a spot right now with Kansas City and Rashee Rice that you're right. They need to add a receiver. I'm curious how aggressive they get, because what if Rice doesn't play next year? Then you're screwed, because you can't really factor him into your equation as your wide receiver 1 and not do much else.
He's got a lot of off the field issues. I think pick 9 right now, with us really getting to a point where we're saying, okay, it's not going to be Jeremiah Love, right? He's not even going to come close to 9. And now you obviously make the trade. Mm-hmm. Is 9 a perfect spot for them to get a receiver? Are they going to draft a tackle if one of them fall there? They have options, but 9 could be a spot where Carnell Tate falls, Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, whoever you want to pick there. It could be a spot for a wide receiver.
Yeah, they're in a good place right now to try and bolster that position up. What should the Buccaneers do next? I think the next one is Trey Hendrickson for them, right? Yeah. I mean, they've kind of been sitting here not doing a ton. You lose Jamel Dean. Unfortunately, they lose Mike Evans too. Trey Hendrickson feels like the shoe-in to be their next attempt. Whether they get him or not, it's a different story, but it feels like that's what they're going for right now.
Like the Angelone move. Both of our teams were in on Angelone. They wanted him. But Trey Hendrickson feels like a slam dunk for that team to get better defensively. They have a lot of young wide receivers. Yeah, it sucks to lose Mike Evans, but in the grand scheme of things, those receivers, those young guys need to step up. They need to make plays, and I think they will. The offensive line will be healthier. Go get Trey Hendrickson. Go shore up that defense and make it, a big-time strength.
It felt like Evans didn't want to come back either. That hasn't gotten talked about a ton, but I did read one Bucs beat report that said they did make a strong push for him, and it sounds like he just wants to change the scenery.
Yeah, which, listen, it sucks. It sucks for Bucs fans, but it makes sense. I also think he couldn't stand playing for Todd Bowles.
I think there was a Bowles issue, and I'm not going to rule out that there was a Mayfield issue also. But we'll see.
Listen, I ripped on Baker as much as anybody towards the end of that season, but I think it was clear that he was playing a little banged up.
Oh, he definitely was. I just wonder if they get along at all.
Okay.
With some tea leaves. That's
okay. Not like talent. Like, Baker's
no. I think that there might have just been maybe he got spoiled by Brady thing and fed so much by Jameis, and he liked those guys a lot. And then it's just a long time to get along with everybody in one place.
It's a good point.
So go to San Francisco, have an awesome end of your career there.
I love the move.
Let's talk about that.
I love the move. You're playing in such a difficult division because the Rams are just loading up. The Rams are the favorite right now to win the Super Bowl. No doubt in my mind. They should be the favorite. Seattle just won the Super Bowl, right? The Cardinals are a joke. Now you're sitting here, you're San Francisco. You've had injuries on injuries on injuries. You may be moving off of veteran players. Fred Warner's available. Trent Williams is available. So go out there and add Mike Evans to this, group of, offensive weapons now. Like, I like Ricky Pearsall, but I like Ricky Pearsall as the fourth option in the passing game like he is right now. Kittle, Evans, McCaffrey, Pearsall. That's how I want it. I think it's a slam dunk for Brock Purdy. You know how much I love Brock Purdy. And Shanahan's offense is going to be great. This is going to be a really good team.
And the contract was really fair. It's 1 year, $16 million guaranteed. It's 3 for 42 overall. But they could, if it's a total crapshoot and the substation gets him, you can cut him after a year.
Well, I sent you a tweet probably 20 minutes before he signed, and it said that he had an offer on the table for, it was at least a 1 year, $27 million contract.
Yep.
which I was like, wow, this is going to be a crazy number. And then it ends up not being.
And then after the ALEC Pierce thing, I was believing every rumor I saw about the overpays, and the rest of the day kind of comes in at underpays on offense.
On offense, yes. Besides offense,
Linderbaum, Walker, and Pierce, who were the top 3 offensive free agents, everything else felt like an underpay. And then you had Devin Lloyd on the other side of the ball. Defense felt like overpays all around, though. I thought defense was getting a lot of money yesterday.
Defense got a ton of money.
Jalen
Phillips got a ton of money.
Jalen Phillips, we can go there. Panthers gave Phillips an unreasonable contract at 4 for $120, highest value of any free agent that signed yesterday. And then Devin Lloyd follows up at night with the complete antithesis, an absolutely awesome 3 for $45. You get an all-pro linebacker in for $15 million a year. But we can start with Phillips. I could not believe that one.
Couldn't believe it. I mean, I remember when we did our predictions the other day, I had him at 3 or 4 years for like over $20 million a year. And you were like, that's a lot of money. And I was like, I feel like you're going to get a little bit of an overpay for an athletic edge rusher that, shined a little bit, in a playoff run. And then you get that deal and you're like, what the hell is going on? One of my good friends, an Eagle fan, we were talking about it on Friday night. And I said, I think they're going to get priced out of Jalen Phillips. And I think they got priced out of Jalen Phillips.
They probably got priced out of Jalen Phillips by about $60 million.
Yeah.
This is a guy who's never touched 9 sacks.
It's incredible. I mean, you're paying for, it's almost like ALEC Pierce. You're almost paying for what he could possibly do in the future because you love his upside.
His market value on SpotTrack was listed, and again, we talked about this the other day. They're usually lower on these contract values. They don't factor in the bidding wars. 3 years, $52 million. So the overpay that I said I thought he was going to get was 3 for $60. He gets 4 for $120.
It's incredible. It's actually incredible.
And now I want to see, did another team even come close? Or did Carolina just say, this is a guy we absolutely, undoubtedly want? There's no question he's going to fit in great here and we're going to elevate his game. And this is about the contract we're going to offer right off the rip? Or did somebody else come in and start this overpay bidding?
Well, the one thing I want to know is where was Philadelphia, right? Where was Philadelphia in all this? I thought Dallas was going to be involved. I'm assuming Dallas wasn't involved at all. They made the trade for Gary earlier in the day. I'm assuming Dallas didn't get involved here. Yeah, it's fascinating. I don't know who drove this price up. I don't know who could have possibly driven this price up, though. Jalen Phillips, I like him. I think the upside's there. When we predicted the contract, I was a little higher than you were.
Yeah.
But, God, he almost doubled my prediction, and he doubled your prediction.
Yeah, I was shocked at this. But then the Devin Lloyd follow-up makes you feel great about it.
Oh,
because if you split their annual value, which is what, 55 or 45 million a year, if you split that annually and say they got Jalen Phillips and Devin Lloyd for, 22.5 million a year each. Awesome. Like, all right. They got aggressive for it. They went for it. That's fine. Even that, you're saying a little bit of an overpay for Lloyd and Phillips, but that's a great job for them. The defense has transformed, and it was already good last year.
I thought the overpay was going to come from Devin Lloyd. I thought somebody was going to give Devin Lloyd the crazy contract, the 5 or 6 year contract, where you're like, oh, it touched $80 million, really? That's where I thought it was going to come, but when we got that number, I was pretty shocked last night. Devin Lloyd's a good player. Really love that move for Carolina. They need more weapons offensively. They could probably use a little bit more offensive line help, too, so we'll see where they go for Bryce Young, but you feel good about one side of the ball. I still don't feel great or trust them at all on the offensive side of the football, though. I can't.
I knew they had money to spend, and I had been feeling like, based on the beat reports, this was an overpay team that was going to surprise people. That's why I thought it was Juwan Jennings, because I was thinking you got these 2 receivers in Leggett and McMillan. Leggett was terrible last year, but these 2 guys on rookie contracts right now with your quarterback on his rookie contract still. Why not give the 2 years guaranteed on a 3 or 4 year deal to Jennings and just get a guy in that could probably give you a boost? They do it on defense. And they might be going for the full blown, I think we could score 18 points a game. I don't think we'll have an elite offense with Bryce Young either way, but he could definitely manage us to wins. let's go all in on defense and try to hold teams to under 18 points a game.
And they still can spend a little money, though, on Jennings.
They can.
They could.
They could do it in the draft, too, where you boost your offense. But, I mean, this team, let's not forget, finished 8-9 in the division with 3 8-9 teams. They won the division and got into the playoffs, and they almost beat the Rams twice in 2 games. But I think that the perception on this team, because they won their division and played a close playoff game, I don't think they're as close as that makes them sound.
Let's also remember this. They were not the best team in their division by the end of the year.
No, they weren't. And they might not have been the best team in the division the whole year. I get that they won it, and I liked the Panthers more. I was rooting for them to get into the playoffs versus Tampa Bay or Atlanta. But, Mike, if this team finished in last place next year, are you stunned?
No. I don't think they win the division. I'll tell you a team that I think had a great start to the day yesterday.
Who?
I think your Saints had a great start to the day. I love what the Saints did
really well.
I love what the Saints did. You know, you're just making the infrastructure around your young quarterback who you believe in. You're making it better. You're making his life easier. Let's go get a running back that could do all. Let's go get one of the top offensive guards on the market. Great. I loved the start that they had yesterday. They still have a high pick as well. That could be a receiver. That could be a tackle if it's needed. You can go in multiple different directions there. I was so happy with what your Saints did yesterday to help out their young quarterback.
David Edwards, Travis Etienne, they add Noah Fant also. I think that was overnight.
Yep.
But nice job to build around Shug. I've read some Olave trade rumors yesterday. No way those are real.
No.
They have to be serious about keeping as many offensive pieces here as possible. Kamara probably gets moved now, but I think he's shot.
Yeah. No, I'm fine with that. You're upgrading with ETN anyway. So if he retires, if he moves, you cut him, whatever. You're fine.
I'm really curious to see how they try to fill out the defense. They have the draft assets to, they have all their own picks. They could make enough noise in the draft on the first 2 days to add 2 or 3 pieces to your defense, but doesn't feel like a team still. Like, I don't think this is the best team in the division right now. I could see them finishing worse than Tampa Bay and Carolina. Tampa Bay, we have to remember, 8-9 last year. Baker Mayfield was completely injured. Mike Evans was completely injured. Guys played through it. Godwin hardly played. The defense was horrendous. They've already started to upgrade that. I think that we have to pump the brakes here a little bit on the Saints, but you could still like what they did a lot. I think they need a lot more.
I'm not pumping the brakes. I love it. I think
you're all in.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll be all in. I think I'll be all in by the end of the offseason. That's how I feel.
And the biggest thing for the Saints is, does Shug take the jump?
Yeah.
Does he actually elevate from being a really promising rookie to, okay, this guy's their quarterback in year 2?
And Olave, you saw what he did for Olave towards the end of that year. They probably need another receiver, though. And I don't know what kind of level of receiver. I mean, it doesn't have to be a 1, but they'll need something. I like it. I'm pumped. Kellen Moore, second year. I'm pumped.
And this is one of those teams. You got pick 8. We talked about the Chiefs with the 3 receivers. You might have your pick in the litter with the 8th pick in the draft.
You could, but you may also be sitting there saying, okay, here's a really good defensive player. Yep. You mentioned you want to improve the defense. Kellen Moore says, I'm gonna help. Who's the D coordinator there now?
Staley.
Because
also
a little bit
at pick 8, you have an outside chance at landing one of Reese. I think goes at 2, but one of Styles, Bain, or Bailey.
Right.
You have an outside chance at one of those top 5 guys falling to you.
Maybe Downs as well.
Yeah, it sounds like Downs and Bain actually would be there at 8. It doesn't even feel like a fall. But either way, good job by the Saints yesterday, putting some pieces around the young quarterback. Let's go Titans here.
Yeah.
They spend the most money on day 1. Did you like it? Love it? Hate it? Indifferent?
I didn't love it. When you, like, these 2 coaches, right? Like, you leave one spot and you go to another and you're bringing in all these players that you drafted 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a weird, like, I know people are joking about it, but it is a little weird. Right? Like, these are part of the reason these players are part of the reason why you got fired in the first place.
Yeah.
So, like, they got better, yes, 100% got better, but how much better did they get, and was it worth the money that they spent? Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I thought that the Titans just did a lot of. They feel as if they're the spender that doesn't usually get very far. And I know a lot of people are going with the Patriots comparisons right away. Cam Ward going into year 2, they might just explode, or the Bears comparisons. But Saleh is not Ben Johnson. Brian Dable is not Ben Johnson. Neither of them are Mike Vrabel either.
It doesn't feel right. Like, we talked about the Raiders, and I thought the Raiders did a really good job. You know, they were calculated. They were good moves. These do not feel like good moves. These feel like the reckless moves that, the Giants made in 2016 when they went to the playoffs, but what happened after that? Everything fell apart, right? So it feels like one of those free agencies where this isn't going to work out. This isn't going to lead to a playoff spot next year. They still feel like the third best, at the very best, the third best team in their division, right?
They do. You look at the guys they brought in, and this is the difference between, I think, Tyler Linderbaum and I think Nakobe Dean are game changers on each side of the ball. They're both going to be able to call the entire side of the ball. Obviously, Linderbaum won't. I think Dean will. But they're high IQ players in the middle of the side of the ball who are just going to lead the whole way. Stop me when I get to a game changer for Tennessee, who spent more money on less players. Wan'Dale Robinson, don't think he's a game changer. Cordell Flott, I don't think he's a game changer. There's your pair of Giants.
Yep.
Gave Daniel Bellinger $8 million a year to play tight end. John Franklin Myers, I think, is the best player of the group. Is he a game changer? Don't think so. They
got more money than I think we both thought he was going to get.
Yep. And I think that with Jeffrey Simmons and the defensive line that Saleh is starting to put together, I think that they should still draft David Bailey. John Franklin Myers fits in really nicely. But again, you sign 8 or 9 guys to over $280 million in total value.
Which player are you most excited about?
For me, it would be Franklin Myers, just because you're putting a really good player next to Jeffrey Simmons. But
that's crazy to say right now. That's crazy. If you're spending that kind of money, that's crazy to say. Also, we get a shot here. This is something.
We'll get to the Giants next.
This is something. Okay.
That's their good. Whole free agency plan has been just former players.
It's worked so far. So
it's worked so far. Yeah, they're in the Super Bowl.
Bellinger stuff.
What do you think of Flott? Because Flott, I'm surprised by Saleh wanting Flott.
Yeah, so the Giants really wanted it back. I'll say that. The Giants were very interested in keeping Flott, and Saleh sold him on what his role would be as compared to what it would be on the Giants, and I think Flott just liked it better, liked the sound of what Saleh was saying. So but he's a fine player. I was shocked it got to $15 million a year though. So at that point, I'm like, okay, you know what? You'll be fine without him.
I mean, Cordell Flott got the same contract as Devin Lloyd. I understand completely the cornerback versus linebacker position value in the NFL, but one guy's an all-pro with 180 tackles a year, one of the best run stoppers in the entire NFL, who just led a run defense that didn't allow a 75-yard rusher all season long. And the other one is CB2 for the 5th worst team in the NFL, who has never felt like a huge impact player. Good player, yes. Huge impact, worth $15 million a year. I think the Titans could have done better.
And remember, he was unplayable for a couple of years there. He was a good, sub-in spot, when he first got drafted. All right, now, Cordell Flott's on the field. Great. He would come out right off the field. Then this year, he really started to make an impact consistently. It was really only this 1 year. So, yeah, it's shocking. His rise to now $15 million a year over 3 years is shocking.
And Alontae Taylor's good also, but again, $20 million a year.
Where does he come from?
Saints.
Okay.
$20 million a year. It's rich. But Titans are a much better team today than they were 2 days ago, and that can't be disputed because they did add a lot. And good backup quarterback in Mitch Trubisky, too, if the Cam Ward thing doesn't work, which it will. I like Cam Ward a lot. Let's go Giants.
Yeah.
What'd you think, day one?
Yeah, I really liked it. Really liked their day. Tremaine Edmonds, I wanted him. I wanted Tremaine Edmonds. I'm happy with what they were able to do because I feel like they filled, more needs than I thought they were going to. Jermaine Illuminor is probably the best move of the entire day. Being able to bring him back at $13 million a year for 3 years really felt like he had a much bigger market there. So I understand the argument of, well, why couldn't we just draft a tackle at 5 and get our future right tackle? Well, how about you have a guy for the last 2 years that you really trust over there that's been really good, you could borderline great in 2025. You trust him over there, and you feel good for the next 3 years about who's blocking your rookie, your second-year quarterback and beyond. So I feel great about that. Obviously, Edmonds fills a need at linebacker. I think they need one more, though. And I like the Likely move a lot because I think now you're going to see him. Obviously, you don't have Mark Andrews there anymore. And Mark Andrews, towards the end of his prime, too, where he was still a big impact player, Likely now gets a chance to shine. He's an athletic player, decent in the run game. I think he's going to be used in a big way for this team. They're use him in the slot. I'm excited to see what Likely could do with a full workload.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I would say, too, even though, sorry to everybody in here watching, Jordan Stout, nice add at punter. Because you get one of the league's 3 or 4 best punters. And the Giants have had serious punter issues the last few years, and they're going to be punting a lot with John Harbaugh. So good ad for them. But I really love the Likely signing. I think that a lot of people are thinking they just got a rotational tight end. I think Likely's so much better than any tight end the Giants have had since, you could correct me if I'm wrong, because maybe this is just off the cuff, I'm wrong, but since Jeremy Shockey.
Wow. I can think about it for a second. I think
he's better than Evan Ingram. He's better than any of Bellinger, Theo Johnson the last few years. I mean, there were seasons where Will Tye was the tight end.
He was great, by the way.
And he's fun, but he was not great.
Really rocking. You're probably right. Boss, was it Boss, right? Kevin Boss.
So, yeah, I'm right.
Yeah, you're right.
Because you're getting a guy here who you can line up in the slot, which I love because it's starting to take away the need for another wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you don't have it still, but it's less pressure to really get a guy in that's elite because Likely can line up in the slot. You can still play Theo Johnson. You have a nice little 2 tight end group here if Theo Johnson's the guy, if they don't find somebody else to do it, because I think you can find someone else to do his role. I don't know if Harbaugh likes him or not, whatever. Likely's a nice signing. Good breakaway player. He can hit a home run for you here and there. I think he's good when the play breaks down. Dart's going to need that. And it's just a reliable player who, let's be real, was probably better than Mark Andrews the last 2 years and didn't get the opportunity to actually take over that spot.
No, he didn't. And I saw a nice meme the other day, Harbaugh helping out Andrews getting the contract extension just so they could let Likely walk, and then he's able to sign him. That was pretty funny. But yeah, at least this year he was. I mean, this season you felt better about Likely getting the football than you did Andrews. So I completely agree with you. I'm pumped. And the punter thing's a big thing because they really haven't had a great punter in a very long time. So, winning the field position battle is always big. And now they need to figure out kicker. But other than that, I'm good.
Yeah, where else we want to bounce here today? Malik Willis goes to the Dolphins. Gets less money than we all thought, 3 for $67, but still obviously good money, $22.5 a year, $38 million guaranteed, or no, $45 million guaranteed, excuse me. Hate it. Completely hate it.
How do you like it? I mean, how could you possibly like this? Right? Like Tua is gone. Okay, great. And he's a lot cheaper than Tua. That's fine. This is awful. I mean, how do you expect this to work? Like, I don't understand their thought process here. Like, all right, yeah, you like this quarterback, right? You think this quarterback could work. You think you're getting him on a good deal, a reasonable deal at $23 million a year. but you have absolutely nothing around this guy. Nothing. So what do you expect to happen this upcoming season with nothing there on each side of the ball? I don't know. I question what they are doing. They are really trying to out tank, and I know obviously the Jets are not tanking. They've done a lot of good yesterday, but in terms of competing for that number one pick and getting there, they are just blowing everybody away.
And this is one of those moves too, where this is not a tank move in their minds, but it very well may result in the number one pick.
Yeah. I mean, just based on everything they've done, and now bringing in a quarterback who had a great situation around him the past 2 years,
to
now go to literally probably the worst situation. I think about it. You have a first-year defensive coach. I don't even know who the offensive coordinator is.
I think it's Bobby Slowick.
You're not walking. It's Slowick, right? You're not walking into this great offensive situation with elite play callers. You have what? Jalen Waddle. What else? What else is there? Devon Achane. What else is there? That's cool. That's nice backfield. That's actually nice backfield.
That's gonna be a fun RPO backfield. But come on,
no offensive line. Nothing there.
In 2026 or 2027, excuse me, next year, they're going to be paying Tua and Willis $84 million on the cap.
This is we talked about the Jets being a long rebuild, and it's going to be a long rebuild, obviously. This might be longer.
At this point, it feels that way because the Jets are now out. The Jets are out of their year of hell.
Yeah. But
that you'd imagine. I mean, they could have another one for sure. But they're out of that financial teardown year that Miami's about to enter into. And they might be in 2 or 3 because the Jets didn't have to tear down Tua's contract with 3 years of term on it. The Jets had to tear down Aaron Rodgers with 1.
I'm going to ask you a really disrespectful question. Over under 9.5 total wins for Jeff Hafley in his coaching career as a Dolphins head coach.
Man. Oh my God. You want to go under?
I think you go under because you're only going to get 2 years. There's no, I mean, if he gets 2 years.
If he gets 2 years. If they get the first pick and they're taking Arch Manning, are they not going out and hiring the best offensive coordinator?
They're most likely going to be doing that. So, but then, I understand 23. Like, think about it like this. That's great. That's a great question. I would go under. I would go under as well on that because I think max you're winning 4 games this year, and then the year after you're still in cap hell. You're probably not winning more than 4 in that next year. How about this? You sign Malik Willis to, I understand $23 million a year is not awful, but it's awful if you're cutting him after next year because you have the first pick. You're also, like you mentioned, it's combined, it's $84 million with him and Tua. So why are we getting ourselves into another situation with paying a quarterback? Yes, not crazy money, but we're paying another quarterback. For what reason?
I don't know. Let me ask you a crappy question. I'm going to just riff off some of the veteran quarterbacks.
Okay.
Who does Miami... Not who do you think's better long-term? Who would you rather give a multi-year contract to? Who does Miami win more games with in 2026? Okay. And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer because all these guys almost suck.
Okay.
Kyler.
Kirk.
Geno. I think Wash.
Willis. I mean, Geno just played in basically the same situation. Willis has never really played in this. That's the thing. Like, Geno's been there.
Geno's been through the trenches here, man. Willis, though, with Tennessee, kind of was.
He was, but Willis was just in, Candyland. And now he's going a battlefield here.
Well, it's actually exactly what just happened. We just didn't realize it a year ago. It's exactly what just happened to Geno because he was in Seattle.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, so I go Geno. I actually go Geno.
Wentz.
I'm going to give Wentz the benefit of the doubt that he was really playing with a torn labrum for more than half of that time. So I go Wentz.
So this is
bad.
This is really bad.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, can I just rant about something for a second?
Yeah.
Ian Rappaport tweeting the top free agent. No, he was the only place he was the top free agent was on your stupid website. Okay,
Yeah, I know.
He's
That
not
was
the
so
top
dumb.
free agent. Okay, the top free agent lands like the top free agent just landed in the absolute worst spot possible. If he was really the top free agent, people would have been moving things around to go get him. They weren't doing that.
NFL.com acted like this was when Kirk Cousins was a free agent after the Washington tenure, after 2 years of franchise tags, and he finally got freed, 4,000 yard per year passer who was going to reset the quarterback market, and he did. Malik Willis wasn't even close to this. Maybe the most intriguing free agent, maybe the most interesting quarterback to be available on the open market since Kirk, but maybe there's some revisionist bias in here, Mike. I don't think there is. Sam Darnold last year or Malik Willis this year, you don't know that Darnold goes on to win the Super Bowl. Darnold was a better free agent.
100%.
He won 14 games and was a top 10 MVP in Minnesota.
And I'm just looking at this right now. The thing I'm following today is the Athletics free agent tracker. Yeah. They have him at 8. I think I'd have him more like 20 or 22.
We did that top 25 list the other day, and I looked through the NFL's entire 101. Just out of the top 25 guys, he'd be around 20 for me. Out of the entire 101, which is a completely awful list, the way they ordered it, he'd probably be closer to 35 or 40 in terms of how good I think he is relative to the rest of his position group.
It is. You know what? The other spot he was going to land to, though, was awful. I mean, it was going to be him. They are Arizona, right? Like, This was terrible for him.
This feels exactly like Fields to the Jets, where Fields played a few games in Pittsburgh, obviously a better organization, and he goes 4-2. It's a really catered to offense where they didn't even score that many points with him. I think it was through like 6 touchdowns and just didn't turn the ball over at all. It feels the same way where you're saying we have to find our Darnold or Mayfield here with this journeyman, and we think we can do it with this guy. Let's go for it. And everybody I think that I spoke to in Jets world thought that they'd be better than they were. Not that they'd win 9 or 10 games, but everybody thought you're going to get some decent quarterback production and the roster's not horrible. This is the same situation. Miami's going to be a disaster.
The way of thinking, fine, but you know, when the Jets signed Fields last year, I did view that as like a very low. Yeah, it was 2 years and it was what, 20 million, whatever it was.
2 for 30 guaranteed.
Right. Like that's not hindering you at all if he's terrible in year 1 to get rid of him. You're not. No. It's not holding you back.
They're paying him $10 million this year.
I felt as though it was a low risk kind of move with the chance of upside. Now, I never thought he would be anything. I think he's one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen, but it's like, this is different. This feels different. This is more of a commitment.
Yeah.
But the way of thinking, yes.
A couple other teams let's rip through. You want to just go through quickly the rest of the AFC East? I thought the Jets had a nice day. It was all defense yesterday. Mm-hmm. They had Osai, Davis, and Igbare. It's some depth moves, some veteran leadership moves. They did a good job. I was shocked the Patriots didn't do more on day one. And Buffalo is pretty quiet.
Buffalo's been quiet. They obviously bring back McGovern. They lose Andrews. They made the DJ Moore trade over the weekend. Didn't love that. The Jets had a really nice day. It's just great, becoming a better like they needed so much on defense, and they still do, and they're gonna obviously address that with the number 2 pick in the draft and possibly more. But did a good job on defense yesterday. Davis, like we talked about, you need somebody in that locker room. Aaron Glenn needs somebody like that. They wanted Anzalone. They were interested in Anzalone. Didn't get him. He goes to Tampa. So
I think Davis was probably their number 1 option.
You think so?
I do, because Glenn was with him in New Orleans.
And Glenn had Anzalone in Detroit. That's why I think a lot of people felt like
he chose Davis for that same path of thinking. And
he got more.
Too. Davis got more money.
He got more
annually, he got more.
Yeah,
he got more total. Because what was Anzalone? 2 for 16 or 2 for 14
2 for
or
17?
Yeah, 2 for 17. Yeah, and Davis got 2 for 22.
22. Jets had a nice day. I love the Minka trade. I mean, the
Minka trade was the best move they made.
Make a trade and extension. I like that. I love Minka. That's Bushi had a nice day. Let's go.
He did. And they are obviously, I think, putting themselves in a position to say, because the offense we've all agreed is like 2 or 3 pieces away around the quarterback. That's been the story of the Jets for 60 years, though. But they're putting themselves in a spot where they can say, we don't need to worry about defense after pick 2. Take Arvell Reese, and then we could take our chances with a rookie quarterback at 16 with Ty Simpson. We could take our chances with receiver and then quarterback in round 2, or just fill out if we need a left guard, they need a left guard. So I like this for the Jets. I think it's defense free agency is the appropriate way to go. Take Reese at 2, and then move on to the draft, the rest of the draft, pick up the offensive pieces.
There's a lot of holes in this defense, and they're going to address a lot of the, whatever needs they don't on defense in the draft as well. Right. Reese is going to most likely. It's a lot to cover, and they did a lot in day one.
The Bills signed 1 starter. It's D. Alford. They obviously added DJ Moore last week. Could not be more out on Buffalo moving forward. Could not be more out. And it's from a guy who, as much as I try to tear you down, I love Josh Allen, think the world of Josh Allen and what he can do. Don't see how this team's getting any better.
No, that's kind of been the story with them, though, for the past couple of years now. Like they're not getting as better like they should with having a superstar level quarterback. So I don't love what they've done. They brought one of the offensive linemen back. It's the guy we both thought they would bring back. I don't love DJ Moore. Like it sucks. Allen's got to do it on his own. He's got to be Allen.
He does. But what about New England? I mean, are we too anywhere on New England right now? It feels like very neutral. Wait and see what they do.
AVT,
AVT, Vermont Jones yesterday.
AVT was interesting. They get a guy, like you had said, right after the Super Bowl, a guy that could play tackle if need, but he's going to be a guard, but can play tackle if need.
Yep.
So, fine with it. A little bit more than I thought, but Giants were in. Surprisingly, the Giants were in on that, and they had come to a disagreement on the years. So I guess Giants wanted 2 years. He got 3 from New England. So interesting there, though.
Yeah, he's missed more games than he's played. The first 2 years he was in the league, he was a really good player on the field, but again, never really out there. So I didn't mind the Jets or Giants missing out on this, or any other team that was involved. For the Patriots, if it works out, great. If it doesn't, I won't be surprised.
Yeah.
Wish him the best. Good luck.
Big boomer bust. What about Jones? Jones got ball. His agents have balls, man.
Daniel, yeah.
I mean, that, 3 years, 100, coming off a torn Achilles. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
3 years, 100. You're getting the Sam Darnold contract where you're setting yourself up for another big payday if you do play well in the first year or 2 coming off of the injury. And instead, you counter and go, I want $50 million. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Chris Ballard put himself into this mess too because he traded for Sauce Gardner. When you trade 2 first-round picks and commit to the Daniel Jones era, you lost all your leverage. And did he expect him to tear his Achilles or ACL a week or 2 later? No. I think it was his Achilles. I don't know. But this is where you are now. You have no first-round picks the next 2 years. You don't have much cap space after franchise tagging Jones. They don't have a lot of room to work with right now after the Pearson-Jones thing to go out and sign guys. They need to get the Jones extension done. Or you need to get a 1-year contract done with a heavy signing bonus because the franchise tag is killing their cap space and any opportunity to add players. Does this team feel like a playoff team? No.
It's $38 million. The transition tag that they have him signed to is $38 million.
$38 million. And they aren't going to get it done anytime soon, it sounds like.
It is. It's a mess. It's a mess. You're right. Ballard did put him in this situation, but I understand your agents, you're asking for the most money possible. But don't you like Daniel Jones outside of an interesting rookie here and a mistake-free 2022 and then 1/2 of this season where he's looked like a top half of the league kind of quarterback. arguably. And this is what you ask for?
Yeah.
I mean, because you played like I'm going to put it in quotes, like an MVP for the first 8 games of 2025. You're going to sit here and ask for $50 million a year? I would, you know what, Kevin, seriously, and I saw Pete Prisco say this, who's, from CBS, and he's old man, grumpy old man. I would literally tell him to scratch, and I'd go sign Kyler Murray. I mean, I would go do that. I would not get into a bidding war against myself for Daniel Jones. I'd let somebody else go pay him even $40 million a year.
Now the problems for Ballard, obviously you gave 2 first-round picks. You don't have that much money. I'd imagine this is finally a hot seat year for him and Steichen. Steichen, I don't mean finally, but Ballard, yeah, finally. Every team in that division has won the division in Ballard's tenure, which I think is 9 years. Every team's won it at least twice besides the Colts. Jacksonville's won it 3 times. The Colts haven't won it at all. And you go into this offseason, you just signed Alec Pierce. What quarterback has he had his most success with? Daniel Jones. This whole team is built and committed to Daniel Jones. Huge mistake. Huge error even at 8-2 when you made the trade to get Sauce Gardner. Huge mistake committing the entire thing to Daniel Jones. And here we are now, second franchise that Jones has burned in 3 years with these contract negotiations.
It's frustrating because I've seen it happen.
You were there firsthand.
I was there. It happened to me. It screwed me.
And as an outsider, not a Giants fan, I was sitting here saying they have to re-sign him after that Giants. You have to keep him.
Yeah.
Because what are you going to do? What is the alternative for Chris Ballard right now?
They have options.
Kyler Murray.
They have options right now, though.
But it's if Kyler says, you know what, guys, either way, I'm going to Minnesota, then your options are Kirk Cousins. You're not bringing Wentz back.
No.
Brissett's not available. And you're not bringing him back either.
I
Geno
think
is not an upgrade.
I think Brissett could be available.
I don't think he could be.
Brissett could be.
They announced him as the starter yesterday.
But they could. And I know they're not going to do this, but like if they said here's a 3rd-round pick, you don't think they're going to say, hey, he's
is Chris Ballard with no 1st-round pick giving up a 3rd-round pick for Jacoby Brissett?
No, he's probably not. I don't think he is, but
I think he's
they could fire Ballard today, and I think you'd have an argument.
He's stuck. He's stuck in the terrible spot right now that he put himself into. You
could fire him today, and you'd have an argument. I wouldn't fire Steichen. I like Steichen. He's going to get fired. Both of these guys are going to get fired. This owner's going to go crazy. It's going to be a terrible year.
Yep.
She's going to be stuck here paying Daniel Jones $50 million a year, and she's going to say, what the hell am I doing after he has 20 touchdowns and 10 and 12 interceptions and had 3,000 yards? She's going to say, get the F out. That's what she's going to say.
Yeah. Tough moment. What do you guys think of the Evans signing? We loved it. We talked about it at 18:30 of this video if you want to go back and see our full thoughts. But yeah, we both loved it. Spoke really highly about it. Talked a few different Bucks points. So you could roll back to 18:30.
And I see the Raiders fans in the comments too.
We
went deep into the Raiders there. Excuse me. We love the Raiders.
Yeah, Raiders. If you go back to about 8.5 minutes, we give them some good time on the Raiders because we love their day. You just brought up the Ravens. Want to talk about them. One of 2 teams that I think I absolutely hate what they've done in the last week.
Mm-hmm.
And I am obsessed with Max Crosby. I love Max Crosby. Think he is the most underrated player in the entire league. Top 3 or 4 defensive player in all football. But I absolutely hate the trajectory that this team has gone on this offseason. Very early still. Could still make some more moves, but the offense isn't getting any better. The offense is actually significantly worse. Because you take a guy like Crosby, acquire him, and now you add that all-pro game record to your defensive line, but you lose the younger equivalent on your offensive line, and I don't know how they're going to supplement that production.
Yeah, they brought back Simpson, but I like the Crosby move, and it was a very aggressive move because, I heard a former scout talk about this. When you look at the teams that were interested in Max Crosby, it was basically every playoff team. Like every playoff team would have wanted Max Crosby. And now you look at where the Ravens are, and the Ravens kind of view themselves as like, well, we have an elite quarterback. We should have been in the playoffs. We're a field goal away from making the playoffs. And yet look at us. We have the 14th overall pick. We're in the top half of this draft. let's get aggressive. Let's go trade for one of the best pass rushers in the league. They do that. It's a good move. It's a good move for them in the spot that they're in. But they have not. This offense feels like nothing. The defense can be really good, no doubt.
And the only player they've signed is John Simpson. So you've added Crosby and Simpson and gotten rid of 2 first-round picks. Again, fine, because you got Crosby.
I'm fine with that.
But after the way Lamar looked last year, in a season that he was so obviously injured, but the first year of potential regression in his running game, you can't take half measures with Derrick Henry getting a year older. Justice Hill is gone. And he had some moments for you last year. Isaiah Likely's gone. He's had some moments for you the last few years. Mark Andrews is getting a year older. Doesn't feel like they're on the right track. And I don't know how you're going to trade for A.J. Brown now, because Ravens fans still want that. But you have no first-round picks the next 2 years. Howie allegedly wants one. And even then, are you going to give up your second to bring in another $40 million a year player on the cap?
Well, I don't think you can. I don't think you can do this.
I don't think you can do it.
You can't do it. He wants a first. The second's not even going to get it done.
No, it's not. So
that's out the window. That's completely out the window. What are you doing to make this wide receiver room better? How are you improving this offensive line?
They lost Charlie Kohler, who I like a lot.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. They've gotten significantly worse. The Ravens, they're sleepy Ravens here. Sleepy Ravens. Not doing anything. Letting people walk.
Doing nothing. And the whole big thing that could be holding this up, I don't know what the deal is. They were supposed to extend and restructure Lamar.
Right.
And they were going to get a ton of money from that, and they were supposed to go spend that. But there's got to be one of two things going on, or I'll give you a third option too. One is the third option. DeCosta's just not even trying to do it. And that could stem a whole tree of reasons. Why doesn't he want to do it? Is it because of the regression we just saw? Is he worried to commit long-term? But you have this 30-year-old offensive coordinator who's going to be calling plays for the first time under a rookie head coach. I want more weapons than 33-year-old Derrick Henry, almost retirement Mark Andrews. I have no center now. And Zay Flowers is my wide receiver 1. Like, I want more options.
Nobody's currently snapping the ball. Yeah, is Mike McCarthy going to win the division in his first year?
He might. And I tell you who I thought had a great day yesterday. Cincinnati. Thought Cincinnati added a few nice defensive pieces. They bring in Brian Cook. They bring in Boy Mafe.
Boy Mafe.
Cincinnati could win 9 or 10 games if Burrow stays healthy. Their offensive line's still a disaster. They're in year 10 of the line rebuild.
Can I ask you when they trade him? Like, how many years from now do they trade Joe Burrow? Is it Is it after this season? Is it 2 years? 3 years?
I don't think you really do. I
think he gets traded. I think he has set. I think at some point he gets traded. When?
I don't think so.
How long?
They're paying him so much. They're not going to pay him at all to not be on the team for a year, which is
somebody will take. Somebody will
trades on those contracts. Yeah, but usually there's that dead cap hit on the trade that they're going to have to pay. I don't think you could. If you get rid of Burrow, I think you have to get rid of Jamar. So I just think that there's too many issues with the Burrow trade in Cincinnati, because you're also giving up a guy who's a top 5 quarterback in the league when he's on the field.
They're a bottom 5 franchise. They don't do anything right.
They are, but they could still make the playoffs next year and win the division.
Right. No, I'm not saying this season. Like, I'm not saying this year. I'm not even saying at the end of this year. I'm saying like 2 to 3 years from now. When and where does he go? Like, who's trading for him, and does it actually happen?
I actually agree with this comment. I think if Burrow is going to be done, he's probably an Andrew Luck. If he's done in Cincinnati, I don't think that he gets traded.
If he retires, sits a year, and then comes back, does he still have to get traded by the Bengals? Okay.
Like Derek Carr right now can't become a free agent. He has to get traded by the Saints, which is another ridiculous story.
Right.
There's a quick comment here about one of the news dumps from yesterday. Trent Williams probably getting traded. I was surprised by this. Weird little string in San Fran. I'm not even going to try to rip the two guys. They don't have like the best track record of handling extensions and contract negotiations with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan for players who have been there a while. Just kind of a secondary thought. But Trent's older, and if they want to move him, I don't really blame him too much.
Well, if they want to move him, you taught me this. If they want to move him, then you probably don't want him. So
yep.
We'll see who gets their hands on him. I wonder why with Fred Warner, though. Is that just a cap thing with Warner, or do they think he's declining too?
I don't think that he's coming off the injury. I don't think Warner's actually getting traded. I think that was more of just
They listened to a couple phone calls.
they'll listen to calls and like because the report was 49ers are receiving calls about Fred Warner.
Mm-hmm.
Key word there is receiving. They're not making any. So I don't think he gets moved this year. But he's coming off the injury and he's a lot of money.
Yeah. Fred.
There you go. 49ers Giants blockbuster trade rumor gains steam after Broncos released $31 million starter. So I guess the thought here is Dre Greenlaw would go back to San Fran. Warner would go to the Giants.
That's what I had saw. But I don't even think it's going to happen anymore.
Which wouldn't make sense.
Because we got our guy.
You got Edmonds. You got your guy. All right, I'm going to take down one of your teams here. It's one of the last things I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Chargers disaster.
Yeah, bad day.
Disaster day one for the Chargers, who got completely outbid on everyone by the Raiders. Every mutual target Raiders got. They didn't add a receiver. Good job getting Biotish in on Sunday night or Monday morning, whatever that was. I think it was Sunday or Saturday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good job making that move. But they were sitting here with the third most cap space in the league, and the best thing they have to show for it is Charlie Kohler on a 3-year deal.
Bad. I'll take away my my AFC Championship game prediction for them.
Thanks.
Not good. Still, obviously, some time, but for a team that had a lot of needs that could have really taken those next steps to becoming that the team, I think, in the AFC.
Yeah.
They didn't do a good job here day one. So there's obviously time left and players left, but not a great start.
No, it's not. Which teams do you think? Also, like the Broncos, same division, didn't like that they added nothing.
They had nothing.
Freak injury away from the Super Bowl. You were the 1 seed in the AFC. Maybe you want to say we'll be right back there. I don't agree with that, but not going to improve at all while your quarterback's on the rookie contract.
How about the Eagles too?
Oh, you ready for this?
How about the Eagles? I mean, big day. No, big day for the Eagles there. No, Phillips, Steen, just watching everybody go. Blankenship, everybody's going.
They probably lost the most out of anybody.
They did. Listen, Howie's great, right? Howie's going to figure it out. But they had a bad day.
Really bad day.
And I forget who, might have been you, might have been somebody else. You were like, well, how do they become better this year? They're in a tough cap spot. How do they improve from last year? Because they were bad at the end of the year. So how do they get better? And I don't know how they get better here. I really don't. Jahad Campbell now steps in at linebacker to replace Nakobe Dean. Okay, like what does that look like? He didn't play a lot last year. Obviously everybody was shocked when he fell to them, the backer from Alabama. But like, what does he look like stepping into a big role? I don't know.
Yeah, you lost Blankenship, Dean, and Phillips, who were not rotational guys in your defense at the end of the year. Phillips was one of the few bright spots for the Eagles in the second half of the season after the deadline. I'm not very excited about them next year. But I think the big improvement for them, you have Fangio calling the defense still, so you feel good about him at least making it a top 15 unit who forces some turnovers and makes some big plays. You still have, for the time being, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and a good defensive front. But the key for this team is getting the offense back on track. It was so bad last year and so stale, and the drives were just these crawls up the field. The key is getting them to move the ball again, and they didn't do it at all last season. Hurts was not good. A.J. Brown, is he going to get moved or not? I don't think so. It doesn't make that much sense for them. But there's clearly an issue, and Saquon wasn't good last year, and the offensive line wasn't either. So that's where their big problems are.
The offensive line is where I would worry because, guys are coming back. Nobody's retiring, but these guys are old, and these guys are considering retirement. And I know he drafts there very well. He drafts every position on that offensive line incredibly well. But, he doesn't have that many picks, and he does actually have a lot of picks. I should take that back. He does have, he has too many picks, right?
Yeah. But
he's not going to hit on every single one of them. There's a lot of needs.
Yeah, they have a ton of picks. They got a lot of comp picks, too.
Yeah, like a ton of third and fourth round picks. A ton.
And he'll use those to trade around
Yep.
on draft day and trade up and get aggressive on day 2. He always does. Let's go through quick. Unless you have anything else to talk about from yesterday, we'll wrap up with top free agents remaining and maybe a few predictions on where we think they'll sign.
Yeah.
The guys that I'm looking at, I mentioned earlier, are Jennings and Dobbs at receiver. Deebo Samuel, maybe you can lump in too, but you have Trey Hendrickson still available. We mentioned him to the Buccaneers. Rasheed Walker's still available.
Yeah.
Who we thought was maybe a $22 million a year player. I don't think he's finding that value on the open market.
I'll tell you what, that the Athletic has him as a $22 million player.
Yeah, and I think it would make sense with the age, the position, and the production for the Packers, but hasn't signed yet.
I'll still hold strong on my Cardinals prediction.
Yeah, that's a good one too. They signed a lineman yesterday, Sayamalu, right?
Yes. 3 years, 31.
So you go. There's your guard. You got a tackle in too. Hendrickson, Jennings, Decker, Rasheed Walker, Nashawn Wright, and Deebo Samuel are the top 6 free agents in projected contract value. I don't agree with that list, but that's who it is. Elton Jenkins got released too, who I think is really good guard value at left guard for teams that need it.
Giants need it. Giants need it big time.
So Wyatt Teller out there at guard, Joel Antonio out there at guard.
Yep.
The entire Browns offensive line is still unsigned.
There's a lot of guards out there, which if you need a guard like my team does, I feel pretty good that they're still going to get it. So you're fine there, even losing out on AVT and a couple other guys. But I want to like we're locked in on Kyler to Minnesota at this point.
I think so, and all the rumors just sound like that's what's going to happen.
Okay, because listen, like Atlanta signed Tua. Obviously had the Dolphins grab Malik. The Jets would be the only other team, right? That
Browns too. I think the Browns add a veteran QB.
Yeah, but he's not going to go there.
You're saying for Kyler.
Kyler would go to the Jets. There's an opening. There's a reason he would go to the Jets.
I don't think you could rule out the Colts either. You mentioned it before, but I think the Vikings are definitely locked in. I think the way the dominoes would fall, the problem is Kirk and Geno haven't been released yet.
Okay.
Geno, they told him it's definitely happening. Kirk, it's all the rumors in the world, and the Falcons beat has said it's going to happen, but we're still sitting here. It's got to happen at 12 o'clock tomorrow. So will it actually happen tomorrow, or will they do the terrible move where they actually wait until after June 1st to cut the guy instead of just making it a post-June 1st designation?
Right.
But those are the guys that are left, and I think that Geno's probably a Jet based on everything that I hear. Wentz is still around. Wentz, I think, also might be a Jet. They could go with both guys for a competition. And I think the Browns make sense for Kirk, who seemingly isn't on the Jets' radar and vice versa. And the Browns have had some rumors with him the last few years. And I think that would make sense to compete with Shedeur for the starting spot.
You're just going into a mess there. I mean, you're going into a mess with Deshaun and Dylan and Shedeur,
into being the coach.
Like, it's a mess. Like, why would Kirk want that at this point in his career? I feel like going to a team like the Jets, and I can't believe I'm saying it. It's almost like it's like a whole different world, especially right now with the way they're being run. It feels like a different world.
You have a real chance to produce as quarterback of the Jets if you bet on yourself. And I know that we say this every year, but not really. Like, you're going into a situation where it's going to be Garrett Wilson. They're going to have a new wide receiver too, whether it's through the draft, through a trade. They have Adonai Mitchell. They have good tight end in Mason Taylor, who's going to be hopefully a year better. The offensive line is good. The tackles are very good. Breece Hall is your running back. And Frank Reich, I know he's not the hot young coordinator, but his quarterbacks put up good numbers with him.
Yeah.
So you have a good situation there, but the Jets have a label, too, of embarrassment that I don't think the other franchise carry.
No, yes, but I think when these guys look at the opportunities and the situations, I think Kirk realizes that, especially if, a couple other moves are made here, like, this isn't a bad spot. This is not a bad spot at all.
I also agree with this. Why would the Jets, in a year of hot seats and pressure put their eggs in the Geno basket. Why would that happen?
It's bad. I don't understand that. Like I'd rather Wentz. I'd obviously rather Kyler. I'd obviously rather Kirk. Geno is towards the bottom. I think, I just can't.
Geno wouldn't be close to my list if I was the Jets.
No.
Wouldn't be close. I'd rather go the Tyson Bagent or Tanner McKee route before I went Geno. I'd trade a fourth or fifth. I'd trade a third-round pick for Bagent before I sign Geno Smith to play games for me.
You got the picks. You got the ammo to do it.
You got the picks. Maybe if you bring in Geno and then do something like that, okay. At least I think that there's some hope that Geno doesn't play.
I thought it was really going to be Brissett, but before these moves went down and Malik Willis doesn't go there, I really thought it was going to be Brissett.
And then Geno will guarantee him the first overall pick next year. I don't even think he will. I do not see a world where the Jets are the worst team in the NFL last season. They were the worst team in the league this year. They ended up with the second pick. And I don't think that they're worse next year.
No, Miami is going to be really freaking bad. Arizona is going to be really freaking bad. Like those teams right now, especially with what they did yesterday, I don't think, and the draft picks that they have, I really don't think the Jets are going to have the number one overall pick. Obviously, they'll have every opportunity to get to one because of the picks that they do have, but I don't think they're going to have one.
Yeah.
The Browns can be bad too. There's three teams right there that I think you could make a really good case that they will be worse than the Jets.
The Jets, I'll agree with this too, with Jesse Gomez. If anyone can do it, it's Geno to make the Jets worse. But the Jets last year, you look at the body of work that they put on the field. A defense that did not catch an interception last year. They were the worst defense in the league. I think they were one of the worst defenses in NFL history when you put together everything. By mid-season, they traded their two best players on defense, and they were really running out a group of practice squad players. Brady Cook was their quarterback after the deadline. They completely went all in for a tank after having a little mid-season blip where they won a few games with Tyrod Taylor and Justin Fields. And that stuff, they're going to be trying to win games all year next year. They're not going to be, because the coach has to, they're not going to be able to get that 6 weeks at the end of the season to evaluate all these awful bubble practice squad guys.
Yeah, this is a 6 to 8 win team next year if they hit on a couple of draft picks here.
But you also have to bring in a guy like Kirk Cousins to do that. Now, that's what I was going to ask you, too. If you're a team like the Jets, the Cardinals aren't in the mix after the Minshew signing. You look at this group of Wentz, Cousins, Geno. I feel like Cousins is far and away your best option.
He is. I would agree with that. Kyler's close. I still think, honestly, if I need to win a football game next year, I think it's Kirk over Kyler.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a Kyler guy, but like Kirk played well last year. I understand he was in a good spot with great weapons. I like Kirk still. I still like Kirk. I still think he's productive. I think it's going to be Wentz. Like, gun to my head, I think the quarterback's going to be Wentz.
Yeah, and I could see it. His year with Reich in Indianapolis, we remember the last two games, which were a complete disaster, and Wentz cost them a playoff spot. Absolutely. But 27 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and a winning record. They went 9-7.
Yeah, I'm confident in saying that I think it'll be Wentz. But I've seen the Geno stuff, so I'm not discrediting that. I've seen the Geno stuff.
Yeah. All right, I'm pretty good on the day 2 free agency stuff here. We didn't get any signings during this episode, which means there should be one in the first 15 minutes after we jump off.
Guaranteed.
Out of these free agent receivers, rank the 4 based on your willingness to sign them. Juwan Jennings, Deebo Samuel, Tyreek Hill, Romeo Doubs.
Romeo, Juwan,
Deebo, Tyreek,
Deebo. Just because Deebo's done. I mean, Deebo's just done.
Does he get more than a year from a team?
No.
If I were a team that needed a wide receiver 2 or 3 that could play around the line of scrimmage, I'd take the chance with Geno, because I think he gets like a year for like $14 million.
You can't.
So I'd take the chance with Geno. I mean, with Deebo.
I can't take the chance.
I do like
Juwan. I think Juwan's going to help a team out. I'm a big Juwan Jennings fan.
And now that I'm seeing those prices of the contracts of Wan'Dale, I mean, Jennings at under $20 million a year. Maybe he gets 18 a year.
Yeah.
But maybe he gets $1 million or $2 more than Wan'Dale also. That's possible. Either way.
Think?
I think it's possible.
I don't know.
Because he's such a good red zone receiver.
I'm pumped.
Big day 2 of free agency. Appreciate you guys watching today. Make sure to subscribe, drop a like, comment, follow us on Instagram at BTO Media. BTO with dots all in the middle of the words. And we'll have a ton of short content on Instagram and TikTok about free agency. So once again, appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to subscribe, and we will see you at some point this week to start wrapping up free agency. And then Monday, I think we're going to do a post free agency mock draft with about a month to go before draft day. So thanks again, and enjoy free agency.